authority on digital, on purpose, on community. It's like not hypothetical. It's not like in the future. It's right now. It's right here. It's present. Like Gen Z isn't leading like tomorrow. It's right now. It's today. March for Our Lives, the second one happened yesterday, and that was led by high schoolers, probably career, right? So that no one feels like they can't be their full selves at work, and that no one feels like they have to work a 9 to 5 if they don't want to. Right? So much of society has been telling us these myths that we have to do X and we have to do Y, like maybe not.
Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. My name is Yuki. I'm a BCI researcher and also an education advocate. In this video, let's talk about conferences and on how you can take the most out of conferences, advices, tips, and how to interact with people, intro and interpersonal skills that I used, and a couple of interesting occurrences that happened to me going to either virtual or in-person conferences. So for me, I started going to virtual conferences first because of COVID, everything locked down. The first conference that I went was part of the organization that I'm in called TKS. They have virtual conferences with a lot of interesting young people working on innovative problems, but also like adults they already have companies, and just really exciting to see what they're working on and how do they solve the problem in our society. I would definitely say for me, one of the most impactful conferences I went was the Next Gen Summit. It's located in New York City.
We're live. How are we doing, fam?
I will definitely leave the link below so you guys can check it out. Basically, the Next Gen Summit is where the next generation youth leaders, entrepreneurs, creators, and game changers come together, and they just network, they talk, we have a mentoring session, we have a panel of really interesting leaders in their field. One of the most recent conferences I went to was the NFT event in New York City also. I went to the Mona event, I went to other NFT events. I got a chance to learn emerging technologies in the blockchain field. There are a lot of people that do not understand like what's the point of going to conferences, right? Like what do you do there? Like, you know, what I'm gonna learn, what I'm gonna do? Like they don't see the point of going, and they think that is a waste of time and really useless in a way. And I totally understand why they feel that way. And here's when it comes advice that I have for y'all on how to take the most advantage out of the conferences or any in-person or virtual events that you guys go to. So conferences are definitely an awesome place to get to network and get to know different people working on different problems in the same industry. Depending on the scale and also the theme of the conference, you can really learn and get to know in depth of what are the current problems in the industry, what are like the people that are working on, what are the current solution, and why they're not working. So knowing in depth the problem and the potential solutions that people are creating is just mind-blowing. And sometimes, yeah, you can get that on the, searching online, but that is just a human-to-human interaction. It's more real, and you can get to talk with the founders, you can get to talk with the people who are working in this industry, and then like the talk and the impression that you make can lead to so many possibilities down the road. So let's say in my case, during the Next Gen Summit, I got to talk with the founders of Next Gen, the two founders, the co-founders of Next Gen. I got to talk with a creator, a podcaster that has millions of views on. I got to talk with a consultant working in the communication industry. I got to meet a lot of people who are working different problems in different fields, and I was able to understand and learn about a lot of problems they're trying to solve. Besides the fact that you get free lunch and snacks, yeah. Alright, now here comes the best part of the video, which is the tips and advices for you. So first of all, I know this is really self-evident, but it's worth to mention, is to know where you are heading yourself in. Basically, know what is the conference about and who are speaking, and do a little bit of your homework. Most people, they just, I think this is cool. They sign up for it. They don't know who's gonna speak. They don't know what is the specific themes. So get into the specifics of the conference so you can take the most out of it, and knowing who might have the answer of the problem you're working with, and just go to talk with them after they speak and whenever you see them during the conference. The second tip would be just being intentional of what you want out of the conferences. So basically knowing what is the best case scenario, having like at least 3 intentions of what you want out of those conferences. And those intentions should be aligned with what you're working on, let's say personally or with your company. So basically create a to-do list or SMART goals of what you want out of the conference, but also create a not to-do list, something that you should not be taking risk of and it's not worth your time in the conference. In case you're going with your friends, like a group setting, when you arrive at the conference, don't stay with them all the time. So like if you arrive with your friends, they're all good, you have your gang there, you have more confidence, you have someone you can just talk to whenever you're bored, but do not stick with them all the time. Just go meet other awesome people in the room and just practice your boss mentality. Go talk with strangers, ask them what they're working on right now. What is one question I really like to ask, what is your biggest headache in your industry? what you're bothering the most, what is like hindering your progress, and how I can help you, right? And if you ask like, how can I help? They will really want to help you back. The second item on the non-to-do list is basically don't be alone for more than 10 minutes. If you're alone, whatever you're eating, for more than 10 minutes, stop that. Go talk with someone. Another don't is that if you feel like leaving, don't, please. I would say the best part of our events always happen at the end of it. So stick to the end. And lastly, and the last don't is to don't stick with someone if they're really not interested in what you're saying or like this industry you're talking about. In most cases, you can just figure out by their facial expression and like their body language. If they're not really interested, they won't usually look in your eye, or do you have like some movement that seems like, oh, I'm not interested, so please go away. All right, so now let's get into the to-do list. Things that you should definitely do. The number one to do is to have an elevator pitch of what you're working on or what you're obsessed on currently. So going to a conference, like people will ask you, oh, what you're working on right now? And like you gotta have something to say. It could be about yourself. It could be about a problem you're trying to solve. It could be the company you're trying to start. It could be like a campaign or anything you're working on right now that keep you going day to day. The second to do, I would say, is get personal, you know? Like, do not just talk about like projects or what you guys are working on, like the problems. Like you can get actually friendly in these really professional situations. So, you know, you can talk about where you come from. You can make jokes. People love these things. And authenticity is just the best advice I can give you. Just go and be authentic, who you are, what you're working with. Don't be fake and try to, you know, think, oh, what other people are gonna think me if I say this? You know, just be who you are. There's no downside on it. If people don't like it, if you're honest and authentic, then that is the best sign to tell that, oh, that should not be the person for me to be talking to. Another really important to do is basically be a multiplier or an adder. Basically what I mean is to help others by introducing them to someone else. So multiplier basically means, you know someone, you know their problems, and you introduce them to someone else who is like, is really into it or really like have done some project that shows that they're master, they're proficient at it. And then basically adder, add to other people's life is to provide some, advice that you know and you have experience on. Basically, it's to provide value, right? You know someone, you provide them what they need, what they want, and they will do the same for you. The last thing I would say is to take notes. Please take notes. There will be a lot of people in the conference you're gonna meet, and you won't remember everything, like their names, the contact or LinkedIn. So please take notes, especially during panels. There are a lot of insights and advices that people can give. Personally, I like to take notes on my phone. Even though the Next Gen Summit I went to, they gave us like a notebook, like a mini notebook. I just took my notes on my phone so I can access it easily wherever I go. And also, one more thing. You should definitely, after every single conversation, get their LinkedIn. If like LinkedIn is not something that they're really active on, but get their Twitter, Instagram, whatever way that you can contact them, please get that. And after the conference, definitely reach out to them. Most people don't do it because the extra effort is just, they don't think it could be rewarding. But please do it, because from my experience, I had rewarded a lot by following up, sending thank you notes, and just appreciating the person for the conversation you have together. Alright, so now let's get into the awareness part of me going to all these conferences and what I had learned through it. So the first thing I would say is people who are really intentional of what they want out of the conference, they have a different field. So they can attract attention in a way that nobody can. So let's say a group of people already is talking with this, like the guy that was a panel and then really influential in a way. If that person get into the group, he's able to attract all the attention of the person he want to talk to immediately to him and just talk to him like solo, It's like people with a purpose and intention in mind, they are really powerful. They have that like this field of, if I'm in this group, the attention is only on me. And these type of people, they are able to steer basically conversation to the direction they want. So they're intentional, they know what they want. They are not passive during conversation or like providing value. They're active in a way that they can control how the conversation flows. It's a really powerful soft skill to train. Another thing that I would say is really important is just eye contact when you're talking to people, like this, and the ability to remember their names. The one word in the world that people are extremely happy to hear is their name. If you remember the person's name, they will remember you better, which means that you have made a greater impression on others. And when you follow back after the conference, they will, oh, this guy, I know him. And they will be more willing to connect with you and help you with whatever you have. And yeah, that's just another amazing soft skill to train. One of the most impactful things that I learned through going throughout these conferences is that purpose. Like purpose can mean a lot of things, and it can be really subjective to every single person. I realized that people with greater purpose, they have more security in a way. They are more directed, they're more active, they are more secure mentally because they know what they want, they know what they're doing, and they have actionable goals to pursue them. So that adds to the security part, I know I'm doing, even though like They can be really poor. They like their current status is not ideal. They have a plan to pursue what they actually want and in life. Yeah, you know, like I'm sharing all these advices and everything. That does not mean that I am like an expert in, you know, conference. And yeah, there are a lot of things that I myself need to improve. Let's pick the part of being authentic, right? I am pretty authentic in a way that, you know, I express myself. I just be who I am. But sometimes during conversations, the person mentions something that I don't know, and then they ask me, oh, you know this? Like for me, I want for the conversation to flow and just pretend that I know what they're talking about, and I say yes. And that is, I would say that is not really good thing to do, because basically what you're doing in this case is that you are trying to pretend that you know what they're talking about, but actually you don't. Most of the time, this leads to that you are not learning. The advice I would give is that if you don't know what they're talking about, just ask them. People are more willing to help you than don't. So don't be an idiot and pretend that you know and say, Like, don't do that. Just say, I don't know, can you explain it? You know, I'm not really into this industry, or I'm just let them know that you're starting. You're just a beginner in the industry, and they will be more than happy to help you. Another thing that I did not do during past like conferences or events is that I did not really reflect afterward. Most of these events are really meaningful. If for sure you gotta have a purpose, right? Are really meaningful. So I would highly recommend all of you do a journal or have like a meditation and write down your, you know, inside thoughts and post it somewhere. You know, just share with the world what you had learned. I do this through my journal, my daily journal, and then I post it whatever on LinkedIn or Twitter, Instagram, and just share with the world. I would say during this conference, it's a really good place to put yourself out of your comfort zone. So let's say in my case, during the Next Gen Summit, when I was talking to the co-founder of the conference, right after the pitch competition, I told him that next year, I am gonna pitch here. Like, even though I do not have any idea yet, like I'm just starting, just my first time going to Summit, it's like I'm completely new to this field. I said that, so that shows, you know, you gotta really put yourself out of your comfort zone in order to get something bigger. That is like basically the challenge for me. You know, next year I go there, I gotta be pitching my company. And you know what? That's one of the ways how you can make an impression. And interestingly, the co-founder said, oh, you better be pitching, but also winning the competition. And if you win the competition, you get like $1,000. So yeah, that was definitely a challenge for me. Hopefully next year, I actually get to pitch there. Alright friends, that's it for this video. I hope y'all all enjoyed all those tips on how to interact with people and how to get the most out of these big events. I hope y'all enjoy, and stay tuned for the next videos.
Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.